What's up guys, this is Chronic Rush HD and welcome to episode 18 of my FIFA 13 Road to Gold Around the World series. As you can see here, I'm decided to list all the players up of my Irish League team. They weren't cutting it for me and I just seemed to do really bad. So I decided to move on to the next league, which is going to be the SPL or the Scottish Premier League. And which has got some fairly decent players in it. It's got some gold players, some fairly decent silver players. Just an all-round really good team. However, some players are fairly expensive, so I'm not going to be able to pick up the best of the best in that league. But as you can see here, we renamed this quick squad. I've just got some OCD where if I don't name some squads, but I decided it was just going to be a waste of time. So I decided to go and have a quick look at some of the players, cheap players for the SPL, and just get on the way with hopefully winning some new games with our silver team. As you can see, we've relisted some of the players. I eventually decided to discard the players that eventually sold, and I think Soko eventually does sell. But we start off with looking at some of the wingers of this league, because the 4-3-3 formation seems to be doing pretty well. And I eventually decided to go and pick up with the 4-3-2-1, because I've used the 4-3-3 in this league before. So I decided to go and try the 4-3-2-1 formation. It's very similar. It just seems to be a little bit more narrow, and it doesn't seem to be as thick as if you're trying to cross the balls in. But we go and pick up this player called Rogner. He plays for Celtic. I put him in my I'm not sure if I did, but I think I put him in my Scottish Premier League hybrid team or squad builders episode. So he was a fairly decent player, so I decided to pick him up again. Also picked up this player called Matthews, who I believe I used as well. And he again is no, I didn't use it because I played a 3-5-2 formation. But Matthews is actually a fairly decent right back, and I got him for quite cheap as well. The midfield was the hardest part probably to find, just because I needed 3 of them, and they seem to be fairly expensive if you try to get the better one. So I had a quick look, and I eventually do decide to pick up this player called Miller. He's going to work quite well. He's actually a fairly decent player. He's got a nice shot on him as well. And I also go and pick up... I have a quick look to see if there's any bronze ones, because there is some one goal player who I do eventually pick up. But I'd go and pick up this player called Takui. I'm not quite sure how you say that. Tauquel. But he again is a fairly decent player. He's got 82 pace as well, which is pretty nice. So I put him wider on the midfield. Seems to be a bit more effective. I now go and have a quick look at some of the strikers. And Hasselbank, the Netherlands striker, he's a fairly decent striker in this league, but I don't pick him up. Go and pick up this player called I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I'm not sure what's it called, what nationality he is, but he's called Ojama. He's actually a fairly decent player as well. He's got some pace as well, and I do believe I go and eventually pick up Miku. But he cost me 550 coins, which I think was actually pretty cheap. So I thought I could just put him in, maybe swap him up. He seems to be an all-rounded player. And also go and have a quick look at that right forward player. And I decided to pick up the right wing one because it was a lot cheaper. And I haven't actually looked at the position card, so I may put him in to a right forward card eventually. I go and have a quick look at some of the left forwards, and I find this player called Driver. And I do believe I eventually pick him up, but again, I pick him up in the left wing position in the 3-4-3. So he's going to probably get the lowest chemistry out of all the players just because he's in the wrong position and the wrong formation. I go and have a look at our final centre mid. I need another one, and I do eventually think I go and pick up the gold one called Ledley, the Welsh centre mid, and he seems to be a fairly decent player, and also you can pick him up for fairly cheap, so once he runs out of contracts, you can just discard him. I go and pick up Randolph, the keeper, who's actually a fairly decent keeper and cost me 1,000 odd coins. As you can see there, Ledley, we do pick him up. So our midfield, our strikers is now sorted. We now go and pick up a left back, and left back was the hardest position to find, mainly because the best left back probably is I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but the Israeli one is probably the best one, but he's so much. As you can see there, we've got one that was already in our club, and I decided to have a quick look at some bronze ones and saw this player called Kujabi, I think. And he's actually, he plays for Hibernian as well, the same one as that blonde-haired player. But we pick him up for, I'm not quite sure how much, but he seems to be a bit better than the other player, McGivern, just because he seems to have a bit more pace. We eventually go and pick up the centre-back. We got our bid on that player called, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but we go and add some players to our bench. And we're going to have a quick look at the watch list, where I've got this player called Zan Lucas, and I've used him in my Scottish league team as well, and he's a fairly decent player. But I go and pick up this player called Mulgrove. Again, a gold player. His pace isn't the highest, but he's an all-round decent player, and I can pick him up for fairly cheap, so I can just swap him out if he runs out of contract. And also, I've got my bids on that other more pacey centre-back, so I'll end up with 3 centre-backs. I mean, I just can swap around and change some of the players, but the right-back, Matthews, I picked up. Like I said, I forgot to look at his fitness, and he actually had like 40 fitness or something, so I couldn't play him in like the first 3 games, which was a pretty disappointing. But we go in the first game with this team. I think I've got 2 games this episode. We go up against this Serie A team, and we start off the game with losing the ball there. I'm trying to have a long shot with I think it was Miller, but Cavani's just going to outpace Kujabi, our bronze left back. And that's going to be a very, very nice finish for Cavani in the bottom left-hand corner to make it 1-0 in the 18th minute. And again, we nice challenge there, and we put it out for a corner, which corners against goal teams seem to probably be the weakest link. And I get a fairly unlucky. I don't know why the keeper had to do that much of a dramatic save to keep that out of the goal, but he gets another corner, heads that back in, and that is a fairly nice finish from Gambarini. And he's a fairly decent centre-back as well, fairly cheap. I can't wait until I move on to some of the other league teams. But a through ball into Cavani. I get unlucky there, as Biabiani is going to catch that up, but he's going to do a little crab across in the air, and Morales, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that. Morales, I'm going to say, headed that home. We do start off scoring with a lovely, lovely goal there by Ojama, and that's a lovely finish there with a volley, half volley into the top left-hand corner, bouncing off the post area. That's a lovely finish. But I was just ended up getting fairly frustrated and ended up bringing him down in the penalty box, which definitely was a definite penalty, as you can see here. I'm not quite sure I've showed you, but Vidal, I think, steps up, and I'm not quite sure if I went the right way. No, he went straight up, and I've got no chance of saving that, but that's going to make 4-1 in the 90th minute, and the game ended up losing. And I thought I was doing pretty well that game. I stupidly got in the instant replay, but as you can see there, he had more shots on target, more possession, so it wasn't as well as I thought I played, but still, this team does feel a lot better than the previous team, so I decided to go straight into the second game of this episode, and we come up against this kind of slightly random team. It's a fairly decent hybrid, 4-4-2. It's got some pace as well with Walcott, Wellington, and all the players like that, but he passes it out to Walcott. He's going to get past our bronze left back, crosses that in, and Lucas, I think, I thought he's a fairly small player. To win that header was fairly frustrating, but that makes it 1-0, sorry. We do a quick 1-2, pass it into Driver, and we're going to start off our scoring with 1-0 to make it 1-0, in the 42nd minute. I keep repeating what I'm saying, but again, we lose the ball just before half-time. Passes it around, lovely through ball into Wellington by Walcott there, and he's going to outpace, and that was annoying. So I thought I'd get some revenge in the second half. So guys, we move on to the second half. Pass it into Ojama, who's going to get past the player, get past another one, and that is going to be a very, very nice goal from him. And again, he's a fairly decent striker. But that makes it 2-0 in the 64th minute. We get 1-0 with the keeper, and there's the revenge, you little prick. So that makes it 3-2. I decided to run it into the goal as well, just to try and make it a bit more annoying. Making it 3-2 in the 66th minute. And he again, Eto, is going to outpace my players. Crosses that into Wellington, and he's going to get some revenge as well. Why did you have to do that? Why didn't you just shoot? But this guy's annoying because he had just pace all over, as you can see some of his plays. But again, Eto picks the ball up. He's just going to outplay our defence, and he's going to finesse that in, and that was an alright goal from him to make it, I think it's 4-2 now, 4-3, sorry, in the 81st minute. But the game wasn't over. Humphreys is going to be 1-1 on the Jamaican right wing, and we're going to get it back again. We decided to crab it again, and we're just going to finish in similar style to make it 4-all in the 83rd minute. And the comeback was on. A bit of lag there in the 90th minute, but this just summed it up even more. That just made it even better for me to win this game, making it 5-4 in the 90th minute. His mistake. I capitalised on it with a cheeky crab just to try and make it, but the game finished 5-4, and that is our first win with this team in a long while. First win, sorry, in our seasons for quite a long time. But that is a fairly nice game. As you can see there, he had a bit more possession and a bit more shots. But guys, this is the end of episode 18, first win of this season. Remember, if you like this video, remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. This has been Chronic Rushers Team. Till next time, adios.